Yeah, YouTubers, Tazman here, bringing you another episode of Foundry VTT from the ground up. And in our last episode, we had kind of a, well, it kind of worked, but it kind of didn't work as well as I wanted. And I was just having a, is it called a brain fart when you kind of just forget something? Se me fue. Anyway, there were a couple other things I believe I wanted to talk about with lights that I'm not 100% sure that I actually talked about. And I didn't have time to actually go watch my whole video. I kind of skimmed through it, but I don't remember seeing these two things. So one is where we were choosing our light color, right? And we were trying to make the negative light. And it looked okay, but it wasn't really a negative light. So if we come here and make this, and I think I also talked about you can activate the darkness, by changing from day to night, by setting a value in here between 0 and 1. If you want a light to happen in the morning, you would actually set this value and leave this one 1. And that way when it hits 1, or hits 0 going down, sorry, not 1, when it hits 0 going down, it actually turns on. When it's up here, it will turn off. So basically you invert the two. I can show you what I mean. I think actually 1 is what I want. So if I do 0.05 or something like that, or actually let's make it so it's half the thing. If we do that, and it is enabled, so if we go to nighttime, is that right? See, I'm drawing another blank. So if we do that, that means it comes on at night. We would have to have this be a bright color to do the other. But if we change this, say to this to 0.5 and this to 0, then it will kind of do the opposite. Like right now, it's off, but when we turn on the sun, we'll at least be able to see this change from an X to on. So this would actually, oh, you can see it. This will actually turn on a light when it gets daytime, which I don't know when you'd really use that as much, but there is that possibility. So I don't remember if I actually went specifically into that, but if you change this value between 0 and 1, it will turn it on when it gets nighttime. If you change this value between 0 and 1, it will get on during daytime. If you leave them at 0 and 1, that means they'll be on all the time. So if we turn this back to night, you'll see it stays on. And I think that's about as night as it goes. And then the opposite with daytime. So why that transitions, we're going to go ahead and talk about this other one. We're going to talk about negative light. So in our example here, we have this little light. And when we were doing it, we came down here and we went to, I think, rolling mass or something like that. And we turned up the intensity. And we got kind of where we could see in dark, you could actually see it. But you could see the little, very faint edge of the darkness that we wanted. The part I forgot to mention is you come up here. Where are ye? Where is the invert one? There's a checkbox that says invert. Basically, it will automatically turn these to negative numbers. So that means it would change this to negative. Is this not the most recent version? I'll have to look into that because I don't see it here. But if I do that, now you'll actually see we have a very, very dark circle. In the center is pure black. Now, if we, at least you can't really see the rolling mass. So in order to see that, the best thing to do here is leave the dim light. So change this, say to, maybe let's change it to 50 so we have that. And then change the dim light to maybe, what was it, like -5 or something. See if that works. So now if we come in, you can see that the rolling part here. And maybe we can see it a little better if it's nighttime. We might have to have another light in here just to kind of point it out. But you can see it right there actually pretty good. And what this would do is in this dead center part up to like 40, 50, it is pitch black. A player cannot see anything inside there. Where kind of on this edge where we have that 5 for the dim, that's mostly just so we can actually see this rolling. Now you'll notice it's actually not exactly to 5 and then it goes dim. You can actually see kind of a bit in there, but the players aren't going to be able to see in there. So this could be like a darkness spell. And the other thing I can't remember if I actually talked about is, well, a darkness spell we don't want to be triggered by day and night time, right? We want it to always be on or off, and we want to control that. If we right click on a light source, it will actually disable it. So if we have this kind of sitting here and we have our mage or our warlock right here, you know, and some bad stuff starts going down, we can quickly move this over here and say they cast darkness by right clicking it or left, yeah, right clicking it. So it's like that. So then you get this nice darkness effect that person's in. Now, to be honest, the black hole one doesn't seem to do as much as I would think it should. With that, I would almost expect the swirling to be, I mean, it kind of looks the same to me. But I think I mean, you can kind of see this waviness throughout the thing. It's not so much the swirling or, you know, where you can see it get light on the edge. And I think that has a cooler effect for myself. But, you know, wait, that wasn't the black hole. That one's the black hole. The black hole, there you go. So see, the black hole actually makes it so now I can actually see. I don't know if YouTube's going to make that bright enough for you, but you can actually see all the way through, which seems counterintuitive, but it does have this really cool purple glow on it, where the rolling darkness or the rolling mass darkness has this other effect where, I guess I lied, you can see it kind of swirling on the edges. But you really, I don't know, I can't see anything on my monitor here. So that's all I wanted to go in on those lights is, you know, you can turn them on, turn them off, you can move them. And I wanted to correct that negative light. So we're going to go ahead and leave our light off for now. Okay, we're back. You probably didn't realize that we went. So I had to go do some things for this next part. And part of that, if we go in here, you can see I copied this image and I put it on top of a background of another one. That kind of looks like it goes into water, but yeah, we're going to pretend. Because we're going to talk about walls. And I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to cut the other one off. We had some issues where I was doing the walls and trying to explain stuff, but it wasn't quite working right. The VM was having some issues, so I've fixed that since then. So hopefully we don't run into any issues because it's on a VM. Excuse me. All right, so we're going to talk about walls, and as you can see here, there are lots of different options inside the walls. The first one, just like in lots of our other things, we have, well, okay, maybe not lots of other things. Right there, we have one right there. Okay. We have the select walls. So if we had a wall drawn like so, and in order to select that wall, we can go like that and we can select it. If we have multiple walls, let's draw another one, maybe something like that. If I wanted to select both these, of course I can shift click and it will work. And then if I move it, I can move the wall as a whole segment, or I can click and drag it over like that. So there you go. You can see we can click and drag it and move the whole thing as a segment, which is kind of handy because walls are not treated as automatically welding together once you do that. Now that can be good and bad. There are some modules out there that will make it so that if you do connect a wall next to a wall, it will actually bind those and turn them into one wall, even if one wall is a door or a window or some other type of wall. So let's just go ahead, get rid of these. And I guess maybe to get rid of these, instead of doing it that way, we're going to click on this trash can. Now this is a dangerous one because it doesn't, like if I select this wall select segment and I hit this trash can down here, it doesn't delete just that segment. It will actually get rid of every single wall in the entire scene. So it is unforgiving. Use it with caution. I usually don't use that. I usually just click on the segment I want to get rid of and delete them one by one. So let's go ahead and talk about these different options here. So we have the selection tool. We have our standard walls, which are walls like in buildings. We have our terrain walls, and these are kind of like trees, where maybe you can see, well, I'll read it from the wiki because it's going to explain it better to me than I can. So this is off the Foundry community wiki. Regular walls, of course, these walls block movement, vision, and sound. Terrain walls are used for blocking movement of a token and a vision beyond a terrain wall boundary. These are typically used to hide what's behind an object, but allows the token to see the object itself, such as a building. Draw a series of terrain wall segments to define the outside of an object, and the token can still see the object. However, the terrain wall now blocks vision. We'll talk more about this, vision and sound behind it. Invisible walls, which is this guy right here, these I usually use for windows. These block movement, but not vision or sound. Now, any wall you can actually change the actual settings for it. So I could have a window or a hidden wall, but want to say that it's open, for example. Still, we have the wall underneath it, so we can't really go through that wall unless, of course, the GM wants to enable you to be able to do that. But maybe we want sound to go through that. So we can actually change a setting really easily and get that. You can convert any wall into any other type of wall just by changing the options when you're in that wall. Then we have ethereal walls. Now these are kind of tricky. These block movement but not sound or vision. So you could also use these as a window if you wanted to say the window was open. But once again, you're still stuck. A person can't climb through the window. You'd have to go change something to make it so that it was more of an opening or an invisible wall that you could actually pass through. Then we have doors, and a door is pretty self-explanatory. And then we have secret doors, which is also self-explanatory. If we have a wall and we go, oh, that is such a beautiful wall, I love that wall, I would like to have another one, we can actually click on the clone walls tool here and it will clone that wall. But to be honest, I've never used the clone wall tool. So do I double click it? I have no idea. I will try and figure that out if anyone's interested, and I will let you know. This one down here is snap to grid. Now the grid, of course, we've placed as this big block, right? So if I have snap to grid on, and you can tell it's on because it turns a lighter purple, you'll see if I start here in the center, it actually snapped to one of our corners. And if I let go there, it's going to go to the nearest corner from where I let go. This can be handy, but sometimes we want to, just have it angle a little bit and not a lot. Well, we can also uncheck that, and now it's still technically going to snap to a grid, but inside here is what is considered a microgrid. So now if we move it, say if we want to move it right to here, you'll see it's still snapped down. So if you divided this basically into another 9-point grid, you can see that there actually is still a grid, but it's just the microgrid that is snapping to. So if we come here and just barely, you'll see it actually snaps still. So it's not 100% not snapping to a grid. There still is the microgrid that's within each grid cell. So there's that, and then we've already talked about good old trash can, which deletes it all. So let's go ahead and start looking at the different types of walls. Now, one thing I would like to point out, if we go grab a character really quick, and I think this guy has night vision, or at least I gave him night vision, halfling bard, or barbarian. So one thing that I wanted to point out is this outer padding edge. When we set up our scene, we had that padding. I don't remember if you remember that, but if we go look at it, you'll see that we have this padding of 0.1, or basically it's 10. So, and it's scaled. But anyway, so we have a 10 foot. I don't know how to really describe it. We have that padding around there, and it acts as a natural wall that you can actually pass through. If I take this character and I go over that, now all of a sudden I can see the padding, and I can also see this. But if I go back over, now I can't. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that your map will have a natural wall around it. And that was one of the issues I ran into with my previous recording that I forgot to look into, was we had this guy and it was just this guy. So really there was no reason to put walls around it, and windows would become pointless, because a window right against this, you would not actually be able to see into that void. So I put this border around it for two reasons, and we'll talk about them in a minute. So let's go back to walls and continue on. So if we want to add a wall, for example, here, we just click on our thing, and we do have not snap to wall on. And because our thing isn't perfect, this isn't a perfect square, and we're using these for the measurements, these aren't all going to line up. As you can see, this is pretty much kind of middle-ish. This is way on the edge. If we go over here, that's just on the edge. It's good enough for us. I mean, this is the only one that wouldn't even show the wall. I like to actually draw my walls kind of in the center area of the actual drawing. So if we draw a wall and start it right here, and we're just going to draw it to where that window is, and you'll see it it snaps to the microgrid still. And then right here, we're going to draw another one. We're going to start right here. We're going to click off. Now we can right click to move the thing, and then left click and move our wall to the next position. So now we actually have two walls. If we go look, our character, now it kind of looks like he's seeing through the wall. And this is another thing I want to point out. You can actually see where he's actually seeing. The reason he's seeing through this wall is because he's seen this before. If we want to reset that, that's the fog of war. If we reset that and now go back to our character, you'll see it's completely black here, but now this area he's seen, but it's still visible. He knows what's there, but he doesn't know, if we put a token there, for example, let's just put this token there. So there's that guy there. As soon as he moves out of sight, he doesn't see that guy anymore. That guy can move around, but he does remember, yeah, there's grass out there. And over here, if he gets close, he can see that guy. He can see over there. So if you are having issues where it just seems like, wait, how come I'm seeing through it? It's because you need to try resetting the fog of war, so that anything that token can see has been reset, and it will only show you the stuff he can actually see. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go and get rid of that guy for now. So we're going to draw a couple more walls here and talk about the different types. Now, as I said, you can actually change types of walls. I mean, there was actually a hole here. If I wanted, I could travel through it. If I want to add another type of wall segment, or a wall segment, for example, an invisible wall. Now, according to the wiki, and I've never tried this, but where was that one I was looking at? Editing a wall segment, deleting a wall snapping. No. chaining wall segments together. It says if you hold down Control while creating a wall segment, you can get it to chain, which means they'll join together. So one thing I found is if I click on a wall segment, I'm going to try hitting Control and adding it here, but my guess is it's going to grab that wall segment and start moving it. Oh, actually it didn't, so that's good. And then if I hold Control and let go and let off. So here's my question. Is this considered? No. Okay, so that just allows you to chain a segment together. You can actually start on the other dot. If you don't do that, what I've seen, and this was always kind of an annoyance, but I just deal with it, is if I try and add that segment, I'm not holding Control, you'll see it just grabs that segment. Now, you did notice that when we let go, we had another segment. If you're holding Control, it will also chain your walls together. So now I'm holding Control. I'm going to click on that dot, and you'll see, hold on. I'm clicking there. Now it's not doing it. I have that one. All right, holding Control. I'm on the right layer. Why is this not working now? Switch off, switch on. Actually, I think it froze. That might be the issue. Let's hit F5 to refresh. There we go. So go back into the walls. I think that was the issue. So if we come on here, we click on the hidden one. I'm holding Control. There we go. So if I keep holding Control, it will automatically start drawing another segment until I draw one without. Now I'm not holding Control. I do that. That is now the end. It still looks at these all as separate segments. So, whoops, we don't want to do that yet. You can see that they're all separate. We can hit delete, click on it, delete, click on it, delete. We could also do that other where we use the selection tool. This VM is really being weird. I think I might have froze it again. Maybe it doesn't like the control thing. I've never really used that much before, but no, I can still draw. All right, hit that delete. So anyway, now we have a window or an invisible wall here. Now, as I was saying, I could turn any wall into any other wall. If we click on this wall and look, it's normal, 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 both, none. If I wanted to turn this wall into that same thing, I could do normal, normal. That was both and none. And now you'll see it's actually, for all intents and purposes, is a wall segment. So you can do that. Now, I'm a little weary of doing that control thing. So what I've always done is I would just start a second wall segment just a little bit off, and look, it isn't letting me do it. I don't know if that's because I'm on a VM. I'm gonna have to try that on just a regular, on my regular one. But I have lots of mods and stuff, so I didn't want to do that. So if I do that and draw that, see, I can end where it is, and then I can simply drag this one, which is what I usually will do, is just kind of do that. So we drew a wall there. So now we have kind of a window. I want to draw maybe a wall going down this side. I want to move this guy out just a little bit. I find that if you actually move the wall considerably away from it, it seems to work a little better for moving it, because if I just want to move it a little bit, it takes a minute for it to register where I am. So we're going to go ahead and draw a wall segment here to here. Unfortunately, we're not in the middle, but there's not much I can do about that. So let's go ahead and draw a wall segment here down to here, maybe a tiny bit further. Actually, no, we're fine there. And then our final wall segment we'll actually put here. And there's a reason I'm doing this now. Let's do about there. That's good. And then maybe another one right here. So we're going to do a door in here. So right here is a door. We're going to grab a door, and we're going to go ahead and draw that to there, and then take this guy and put it there. So now a door has different states as well once it's considered a door. Let's just use the secret door for this one. We're just going to put a secret door right here. And I think we're not really using, let's go ahead and throw a terrain wall down here. So we're just going to draw, kind of outlining this tree. Actually, what I probably want to do is control on this. So hopefully it works. So if we do this, hold control, just kind of draw in a circle-ish. There we go. And right click to stop. And so there we go. We have our tree here. And so that gives us that type of wall. We did that. The ethereal wall, like I said, this one might be, let's say we have a pit. Maybe that would be a good idea. So let's go ahead and we'll just make kind of a, where should I put it that will, let's say this is a pit right here. So we're going to go control, add that, add that, add that. And I'm letting off control and adding that. So this is kind of a pit. Now what this will do is basically it should allow, is the door? No. Movement restriction, none. So if we change the direction, and there are mods that make this a lot easier because you have to know this is the left, this is the right, and it kind of gets weird when you go up. But we would say, let's say left is the direction. I think that means we can move into it. This one I would want right. Oh, I didn't update, by the way. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's actually nice. That's different. It hasn't done that. So this is saying it blocks movement, I believe, going that way. This one, did it do it all? No, I only did that one. Okay, because I didn't save the previous one. So now if we do this one, we could say left and maybe it's not telling me the direction. Let's grab our token and just check this real quick. Oh, whoops. Didn't want to do that. Click on that, delete. All right, so let's grab our token. That's a problem. I always forget to click on it. So here you can see that we can't really see into this. We can go inside, but if I try and come back out, actually that did not work. Maybe I have to go do the other ones. That one's the door, so I'm pretty sure that that is... Let's see if we do this, uncheck our guy. If we open that door, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to go through it. Yeah, so we need to go look at the wall here. And we need to figure this one out because I can't remember. So movement restriction, we want, I think, normal. The direction is the part I'm not sure. There are mods, like I said, that will actually put a little L and R on the sides of the wall. So let's go ahead and just see, because we did set movement restriction. Let's click on him, and he can go that way. He can go that way. So that is not working at all. I'm going to delete this because I'm just going to make a wall. We're just going to make a straight wall, and we're going to play with this for a second. So here's a straight wall. We're going to say, so this should be right because it's on the right side for me. This is the left. So if I click on this and I say movement restriction and then say wall direction to the right, sight restriction, sound restriction. So we could, like if we said there was no sight restriction and no sound restriction, sound could go through it. It's not a door. Because it's not a door, we don't have to say what it is. I think, okay, it turned blue, which is typically a window, right? All right, let's try and click on our guy now and see if he can walk through it. So he can walk that way, but he cannot walk that way. Okay, so that actually worked right, and that's what I was trying to do. So if, for example, we had a pit, we could have our character, you know, fall into the pit and they can't get back out. I'm hitting the right key and we're not getting out. The tricky part is because it doesn't have an up-down, you kind of have to play with it. And we can kind of look at this real quick. Let's go ahead and maybe if I hit clone wall, all it does is clone the stats. So now if I draw another one, yes, okay. So now we've done that, and we should still, that's the clone wall. It's not cloning the actual wall, the angle and stuff, it's cloning the stats inside. So now if we go look at this one, we still have wall direction right. So if we wanted this correct, if this worked correctly, now he, click on our character, he can't go out, he can't go up. So this is right, which means these other two would be left. So let's go see if we can make this pit now that we've played with it. So we want to clone this one, and we're going to clone it, and we're going to draw from here to there, like so, and that we want to invert to be left, I believe. Let's just double check because I'm kind of curious. So this one, no, that's still right. That is the most unintuitive thing I've ever seen. I would think because we're trying to go through this on the right, it would block the left. Can we go? We can go in it though, right? Which is the, how? I'm really confused as to why that's still set to right. You would think that two of these would have to be left because you're going the opposite direction of the one that's right. So let's go ahead and click on this, copy it, I guess, and do this. And go ahead and do that. Now, it just switched, actually. Maybe it switched to left. No. How did it know? What if I hit left? Is this one right? Yeah, that one's right. So it looks like what these arrows are drawing, and this is actually helpful. It used to not even have this, but this would mean that we can get out, but we can't get in, because we're hitting a wall going that way. So let's just verify this, and then maybe it doesn't, yeah, so we can't go that way, can't go that way, but we can come out, but now we can't get in unless we come up here and go in and back out. So that was the ethereal wall. Great for being a pit. I'm personally really confused why this is considered the right side of the wall and not the left. I'm sure there's some kind of logic behind it that for the game makes sense. But there you go. That would be how you could have a pit that your players can't get out of. And then, of course, if they end up, saying they get a rope, then you could go ahead and come in here and say both directions, update the wall. And now, in theory, they should be able to go through the wall, right? Did I hit update wall? I thought I hit update wall. No, I must not have hit update wall. Now let's see if we updated the wall. Yes, okay. So I must hit close, which I do all the time. So now, actually that's restricting movement both ways. So that's not what we wanted either. And that actually makes sense to me. That's because we're limiting movement both ways. What we'd actually want to do if we had a character inside here, and we wanted to allow them to get out, what we would want to do is click on this wall and change this to none on movement restriction. Then we could leave this on right. And now in theory, let's just say in theory, we should be able to move in and out. So there you go, and you can see we still have the restrictions on the up down. So that is your ethereal wall. Now with the door, there's some cool options. We can click it to open and shut it. If we right click it, it becomes a locked door. And you'll hear if we try and open it, we get a little jiggling the lock thing. So this is actually really good because players can't unlock the doors. In fact, the player will see the lock, but if they click on it, that's all they get. The GM actually has to go in and right click it so that it's openable. And then the player can click on it and actually do it. And you'll see that it does proper lighting for that. The next thing I want to do, this is the final one, is now you'll notice our tree. Remember we put the little thing around it? So we can actually see the tree, but we can't see what's behind it. And let's go ahead and do a reset on our fog of war, because when we were over here, we were seeing kind of behind it. But if we do that and then switch to our character, now you can see the tree is being blocked. Now, if you want that to not have the fog of war, once again, that was in our section in here, in our configuration. I believe it was called as a vision token fog exploration. If we have that unchecked, then fog of war doesn't exist, or the faded or whatever doesn't exist. You'll see that if I don't see it, I don't see it. Now, another interesting thing, if I go inside this tree, for example, I climb up to the top of the tree, I can see, oh, this tree is actually set to be blocking. But if I move them inside, I can actually see in all directions as if I climbed up top of this tree and I'm looking out at everything. But if I'm not, then I can't. If you want to be able to go into the tree, so this works great for tree trunks. You just kind of draw your little thing around that, and you get a nice thing where I can see the tree trunk, but I can't actually see through it. And that's where I usually use them. But you can also do it in trees. Now, if we wanted to make this tree so we could move through, we would go in each of those little points in here, and we could just set them all. Or we could click on, I believe we could do this. I think we can click on that, and if we click on that, I think this is grabbing all the points, and then we could actually say no movement, update, and then if we click off, hopefully that works, because that'd be annoying if you had to go through every single point. But now, in theory, yep, we can move through it. So it did that for all the points where now we can see through, and if we go to this side, we can't see it anymore. So this is great for that. Then, of course, the secret door. The GM can see the secret door. Players cannot. They can't see it locked or anything like that. To a player, and maybe, let's see if we should be able to do this maybe. Localhost game page isn't working. Let's just go here. Localhost 30,000. I might have to look at that. I might have the firewall in this VM not allowing for that. Let me see. I will try and connect to it from my actual system. I wonder what the IP of this guy is. And we're running really long, and I apologize for that. These walls are a very complex, as you could see with the ethereal walls. They're a very complex thing. So if I click on this and do CMD, let's get our IP, IPCONFIG. 172. All right, so I'm going to do on my computer 172.168.93.128 and colon 30,000. Let's see. That does seem to work. So here we can see, and maybe I can, this is, you might be able to see what we want to see. So I'm going to click on Derby Fam. I think, didn't we set it to PASSWORD? Yes, I did. Whew, thank goodness. So Derby Fam, we're going to give her control of, oh, she already has, no, she has Acra. So let's go ahead here, and you can't see what I'm doing, so I'm going to go ahead, minimize this a little bit. So we're going to go ahead here, right click, user configuration. She's going to release her character, and that's Merrick, right? Yes, Merrick. So let's go ahead and give her control of Merrick. And now, did I give her? I don't have permissions. Let's go to the VM real quick. I wasn't expecting to do this part. So let's go ahead to Merrick, do configuration permissions, and DerbyFam is observer. Let's go ahead and make her owner, save changes, and there we go. Now if we go here, DerbyFam has control. You'll see here, DerbyFam does not see a door at all. We can see our tree. We have our pit over there that I don't want to go through. You can see DerbyFam can open and close the door, but doesn't actually see any kind of door over here. Now we do see a change because we put the door over a window, which wouldn't be a very good thing. But if we actually had the door in this wall right here, she would have absolutely no clue. If I'm the GM and I say, okay, roll for perception, oh, you detect a door. Then I can click on the door and open it up because they find it. And now if we go to DerbyFam, you can actually see, she can now see that door and go through it. She can't close the door. It's up to the GM to actually go ahead and shut the door after they've gone through. And once they've gone through, they can't really see that there was ever a door there. As you can see here, no door. But you can have secret doors, which is really cool. So I would recommend checking out the wiki. It's just foundryvtt.wiki. There's lots of stuff. If you want the walls, then follow it by /en/basics/walls, and you'll get to the walls. Or you could probably just go right into the main thing and access it directly. If we go, maybe I could show you that real quick. I've got to open this window, might as well, right? So we come into the Foundry wiki, we can go to basics and walls, just like that. And you can see all the information on the walls. It does not mention in here, at least I didn't see, the cloning of the walls. But we kind of figured that out. And I think I have used that before, I just kind of forgot about it. So I'm going to close out that window. I think we're going to end it here. This has gone probably closer to 40 minutes because I don't remember how long we talked about the lights. But this was a big episode. In the next episode, we're going to actually talk more about characters, assigning them to the players. And then after that, we'll probably actually have another player version episode, because you'll be able to join the game and actually have walls. I'm going to go in and wall off the rest of this. I'll probably add like a secret wall in here or something, so we have like an escape or something, just so we can have those different types of things. I will not have the ethereal walls. I don't have a pit here, so I'm not going to worry about that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Check out my Discord and my other channels. Click the notification bell. Don't forget to tell other people about my channel. Have them check it out. If they like what they see, they can sub, and we can just grow the channel. It'll be awesome. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.